Though not as good as Wolf of Wall Street or The Big Short, this movie is basically those. War Dogs is directed by Todd Phillips, director of the Hangover trilogy, and it stars Jonah Hill along with Miles Teller and a little bit of Bradley Cooper in there. This movie is the true life story of these two 20-some-year-old kids that become arms dealers, and they get this huge government contract to sell them all these bullets and things, and it's a crazy true story about these kids that kind of have an American dream of like just making a bunch of money, and they discover that they can bottom of the barrel sell these things and still make a lot of money, and so they start escalating their business and then start getting huge government deals and contracts to sell huge amounts of armory, and it's their story. Todd Phillips does a great job in this movie directing. He really brings a lot of energy to this movie, and like I said in the beginning, it really reminded me of Wolf of Wall Street or in The Big Short, and it's not as good as those movies were, and I don't think that the story is as interesting as those movies had, but it's the same kind of style that those movies had, and I think he captured it really well. I really liked his directing in this thing. A lot of his choices that he made with the camera work and the way that he made his actors, you know, feel like a little bit dirty and grimy, but at the same time really funny and relatable. And that was really, I really loved the directing of this movie, and I love the performances of this movie, basically of Jonah Hill and Miles Teller. They're the main guys, and you follow them the whole way. There's other people that come in, like Bradley Cooper, that is he's a little bit of a shady guy that you don't want to trust, but he does a great job, but he's not in it quite as much as you might think he would be. But Miles Teller and Jonah Hill are the main characters, and you follow them basically throughout the whole movie, and even though they're not exactly the most likable guys, especially Jonah Hill, he's a little bit of a scumbag, you enjoy watching them, and you're drawn to their characters, and you just want to know what's going to happen next in this crazy story, and it's very intriguing. It's a lot more on the dramatic side than it is the comedy, but the comedy is throughout this whole movie, and it really lands a lot of the time. I will say that in the beginning of the movie, I feel like it's trying a little bit too hard to be funny, and when it kind of settled into the story and just let the comedy happen, it worked a lot more for me, because in the beginning it felt like it was just trying to be funny, but then it actually ended up being a lot funnier with the circumstances and things that happened later on. So that was something that I felt didn't work all that well. Another thing is that it is a little bit drawn out. It feels a little bit long, and sometimes I feel the movie is a little bit, some of the dialogue, especially in the beginning, really the beginning is what I had the most problem with this movie, because it wasn't as funny, like it was trying to be funny, and then there was a lot of dialogue that was like, here's what's going on, I have to explain this to you because it's a little bit confusing, I understand. It was exposition heavy, is what it was, the dialogue in the beginning. But once it settled into the story, just like the humor, it really got funny, and it really started not being confusing, and it just let the story happen. And even though I do feel that it was a little bit long-winded, those are the only problems I really have with this movie. I thought it really was a very fun and interesting movie. I like that it didn't get too political and all that. It got a little bit at some points, but you know, it has a lot to do with the government and stuff, so it had to. But I like that it wasn't overly political and in your face or anything, so that was very cool to see. I thought it was very fun to watch. It was super funny. Jonah Hill and Miles Teller have really great chemistry. They work great together. They are great in this movie. They give great performances. They're very vulnerable and just awful at some points, and fun to watch and funny, and just they work so well together. Bradley Cooper was great for a small little role. It's not a cameo, but it's a very small role. But when he shows up, he's great in the movie. The movie was fun to watch, and I really suggest seeing it. Anyway, I'm going to go 4.5 out of 5 for War Dogs. Let me know if you guys see it, and that's it. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this and you want to see more reviews from a guy like me, Tom Waterloo, then please like and share this video, leave a comment down below, and most importantly, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.